Alright folks, welcome back to week 9 of me going through phase 3 of the MCU. And today we'll be deep diving into a period of time we haven't really explored that much in the MCU, and that is the 90s with Captain Marvel. This is a 2019 film and is the 21st film in the MCU. It was directed by Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, with Genevieve Robertson Duvrier writing alongside them. The film follows our hero when she is a Kree warrior, who finds herself in the middle of a battle between her own people and the Skrulls. Then as she lands on Earth, she starts to have memories of her being a US Air Force pilot named Carol Danvers. With the help of Nick Fury, she uncovers these secrets, while finally harnessing her power to end this war. Captain Marvel is played by Brie Larson, Nick Fury is played by Samuel L. Jackson, Ben Mendelsohn plays Talos, our supposed enemy, Lashana Lynch plays Maria Rambeau, who is Carol's best friend from Earth, Annette Bening plays the original Mar-Vell, Clark Gregg returns as Phil Coulson. Then our three Kree warriors, we have Jermaine Hunso returning as Korath, Lee Pace returning as Ronan, Gemma Chan as Min Ever, and finally Jude Law as our real villain, Young Rogue. This film was first in the works when Marvel Studios started to produce a script for a film feature of Miss Marvel, which if you don't know was the same name that Carol Danvers went by before becoming Captain Marvel herself in the comic books. In the same year, Louis D'Esposito, one of the studio's producers, said that they were interested in doing a female-driven film, where it was teased that this could be for Black Widow, Pepper Potts, Peggy Carter, or even Captain Marvel. Feige even commented on this, saying if they did want to do this, they wanted it to star a new hero in the MCU. He even then confirmed development had begun for a Captain Marvel film in August 2014. He then announced in October 2014 that this would be the first female-led film and would focus on Carol Danvers. It was given the release date of July 6, 2018. He even explained this film was in development as long as Guardians of the Galaxy and Doctor Strange. Marvel then pushed back the release date to October 2nd, 2018 and February 2015 for Spider-Man Homecoming. Feige then addressed how the character was almost in Age of Ultron that April, saying that they simply didn't want her to appear in the film before they fully introduced her. He also said writers for her standalone film would be announced in the next few weeks. Later on in that month, Nicole Perman and Meg LaValle were then announced to be writing. Both did put in separate pitches for a story, but Feige was so impressed that he put them both together. That September, Feige then said that casting will not begin until 2016. That's because they wanted the direction for the character to be figured out first. By October 2015, the studio again moved the release date to March 8th, 2019 to make room for Ant-Man and the Wasp. Good news then appeared when Feige stated in April 2016 that a director would be announced in the next few months, along with some of the first casting. Somehow in the next month, leaks suggested that Emily Carmichael was the contender to direct, with Brie Larson frontrunning as the lead. Larson's casting was then confirmed at San Diego Comic-Con 2016, and she was set to get $5 million for this film. By that time, it was down to 10 candidates for the director role. Perlman then went on to reveal in August that the character's origin had been changed due to similarities to Green Lantern. Then in October, Feige admitted that the director announcement was taking longer than expected and explained that they were now wanting a more defined script to find a candidate. He also stated that having a female director would be something they will be looking into, but it was not a requirement for the role. He then clarified, saying how he expects a director to be announced by the end of that year. However, they didn't start looking until early 2017 due to Perlman and LaValle turning in their first draft that September. Marvel finally hired Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck to direct in April 2017 after the two impressed the studio over numerous meetings. Film was then scheduled to begin in January 2018 at Pinewood Atlanta Studios in Georgia, but Kevin Feige didn't expect it to actually start until February. By July 2017, it was announced that Samuel L. Jackson would be reprised his role as Nick Fury. This was thanks to Larson, who pushed for the character's appearance after working with the actor on Kong Skull Island. At San Diego Comic-Con 2017, Feige announced that the film's setting was in the 90s and that the Skrulls would be the main villains. Dorrit was then hired in mid-August to take over scripting duties. LaFalle left the project to direct Gigantic for Disney, which then got shelved for Raya and the Last Dragon. Perlman also left and said that their draft story would still be present in the final script. Dorrit went on to say that this film would be an action comedy, and it reminded her of the initial script she wrote for Tomb Raider before that film was made more dramatic. Feige went on to say that the action scenes would pay homage to 1990s films like Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Bone and Fleck's personal influences were RoboCop, The French Connection, and The Conversation. By October, filming was stated to begin in March 2018. Ben entered talks to be the film's villain after previously working with the directors on Mississippi Grind. They even had him in mind when they were writing the role. By November, Jude Law was then in negotiations, and at the time it was reported that he will be playing Mar-Vell. It was also said that Keanu Reeves was approached for this role but declined. By January 2018, Dewana Wade was cast as Maria, and the previous two actors were confirmed to have been cast. Location shooting began at the end of January 2018 with set photos taken of Larson in a green and black uniform. A month later, Gemma Chan joined the cast. However, in mid-March, Wade withdrew from the film because of scheduling conflicts with a TV show, She's Gotta Have It. Lynch then entered negotiations to replace her the next day, and it was confirmed that she was cast in the role by the end of the month. Around the same time, Marvel announced Jerome, Lee and Clark were set to reprise their previous roles. Principal photography began on March 19th in LA at Stone Studios, under the working title Open World. The 1986 carnival scene was then filmed later that week in California. In late April, Feige stated that almost half the film was complete, and the following month Benin then went on to be cast in an undisclosed role. In late June, production moved to Louisiana and New Orleans for the next 2 weeks. The film's cinematographer was Ben Davis, who previously worked on Guardians of the Galaxy, Age of Ultron, and Doctor Strange. It was known that additional filming had begun thanks to set photos released in November 2018. Benin's and Law's roles were then confirmed by February 2019. The film was edited by Elliot Graham and Debbie Berman. This was Berman's third time editing an MCU film after working on Homecoming and Black Panther. She was first involved while she was working on Homecoming overall. The film's credit scenes where Captain Marvel meets the Avengers was directed by the Russo brothers. Overall, Bolden described it as a lead into Endgame. The film also had a message saying thank you Stan, since this was unfortunately the first film that was released after his death, and overall the studios want to acknowledge him and his legacy. Music-wise, Pina Toprak signed on to compose the film in June 2018, making her the first woman to score an MCU film. Unfortunately though, in April 2019, it was alleged on Screen Geek that both Marvel and the directors were unhappy with the composer's work and had replaced her with Michael Giacchino. He then responded to reports saying that he was working on the film, overall saying he got asked to do it while composing Far From Home. However though, he said he only helped with the composing and thought her theme was beautiful, and overall it was still her music. The film then premiered in London on February 27, 2018, and then in Hollywood on March 4th. The premiere included a flyover by the US Air Force Thunderbirds to honour their pilot Major Stephen Bell Bangor, who consulted with Larson on the film before dying in a training accident in April 2018. The film was then released in the US on March 8th for International Women's Day. The film became the first MCU film to release exclusively on Disney+, which launched on November 12, 2019, and then it came out on disc on June 11th. Overall, the film made $64.2 million from video sales in the US. Box office wise, the film made $426.8 million in the US and then made $701.6 million everywhere else. Overall, it made $1.128 billion. It became the fifth highest grossing film of 2019. Critically, Rotten Tomatoes gave it 79% from 543 reviews. Metacritic gave it a 64 out of 100 based on 56 reviews. It won 4 awards for being the best fantasy film of the year and having the best fight scene of the year. Overall, to me, this is decent, but mostly an odd film from Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck here. It's a weird, non-linear mashup of the past and present. The memories and present experience Captain Marvel with Earth and Unearth action. Even though I'm not a massive fan of the actress, I do think Brie Larson did a decent job here. This Captain Marvel is a tough and disciplined warrior. The chemistry between her and Samuel L. Jackson is really entertaining as well. There are a good few things in this film, but overall it's too much of a waste of what could have been the first female-led MCU film. And well, it just disappoints me that much that I'm not a massive fan of the movie. Overall, I'll give it a 2 out of 5 or a 4 out of 10. So that was the making of Captain Marvel and my own personal thoughts in the film. Overall, what are your thoughts on the film, guys? Did you like it better than me, or do you just want to give some few extra facts about the making of the film? please comment down below, because honestly I'd love to read them, and I'm sure there'll be a few people watching as well that I would love to also. As well as that, please like and subscribe if you've been liking the Marvel Cinematic Universe videos for a while now. Honestly, I'm very surprised this is week 9 of phase 3. There's 11 films in this phase, and I cannot believe I'm getting through them quite quickly. Mentioning that, I'm going to be back in university in a couple of days from me recording this audio, so hopefully in the next video for Endgame, which is kind of perfect timing to be honest, you'll finally see me on webcam in the videos again. And yeah, that's all I really have to say really. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week for Avengers Endgame.